Hi, I'm Jan and I'm in my counselling practice today, so I'm not on the mat. So welcome to a mindMat video. That is a chat off the mat, and I want to talk about confidence. So I see a lot of clients in my counselling practice that have got very low self-esteem, and there can be so many different reasons for this, but they lack confidence. They may have lots of different symptoms where they're not progressing in their work, they are feeling lost in their relationships, they have social anxiety. So let's have a quick look at some of the things that we can do to help regain that confidence, and maybe some of the reasons why the confidence might not be there. Now, when we come out of the womb, theoretically, we should be this whole person that eventually goes through life, that can play, that can experience, that can take some, kind of normal risks, explore the world. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Somewhere along our journey, we may find that we start to lose confidence. Now, there can be lots of reasons for that, but ending up feeling inadequate or with low self-esteem is a really horrible place to sit. And this is why counselling is really helpful for this, because we can look into why that might be the case. Sometimes it's a family of origin. Sometimes we don't have confidence because we have very well-meaning, overprotective parents that go, oh, do you want to do that? Or you shouldn't do that. And it kind of takes away that natural ability to explore and work our own way through things. Sometimes it can be a teacher at school that takes your confidence away. Quite often I see people where they're in relationships that take their confidence away, so that may be within a family or it may be a romantic relationship. And actually I would say a lot of my clients that are in coercive control relationships have completely lost their confidence. It has been chipped and chipped and chipped away at them. It could be you've got a sociopathic boss who's, really unkind, really critical. And anyone that's around people that are critics, that are highly critical, that put others down the way they talk most of the time, rather than embracing all of our differences or actually even endorsing some of the great stuff about us, that's going to have an impact on the way you feel about yourself. Then what happens, sometimes we start the negative self-talk. So we start to say, oh, I am lazy, or I'm not good enough, or nobody will love me. And then we start to internalize maybe stuff that's been external. And then we're on this awful loop. And often we would never say the things we say about ourselves to another person, to a friend. We'd never do it. We wouldn't be that cruel. But for some reason, we seem to be able to do this to ourselves. So we need to start with some simple steps. Gaining your confidence again, it's absolutely possible, because everything that you had there when you were born that was in place, that allowed you to explore, have your agency, stand in your own sense of self, it's actually there, but you've got to find it again. So it starts with reframing your thoughts. So when you start to say something really negative about yourself, I want you to catch yourself saying it. So if you say, oh, I'm useless, are you? Do you go to work every day? Have you been looking after children? Do you manage to get to see your parents regularly? Have you done a good project at work? Or basically, have you just got the garden, up to scratch and it's looking wonderful? You're not useless. There will absolutely be things that you are doing. But if you keep telling yourself you're useless, you will feel useless. That's the feedback loop to your feeling place. So this is what we call cognitive behavioural stuff, because when we think we're useless, we'll feel we're useless, and our behaviours will be as if we're useless. So we won't try stuff because we believe we're going to be useless at it. So the first bit is to start to reframe your thoughts. And the other bit is about healthy boundaries. So can you identify person or persons that are really critical about you? And it might actually be a friend. And what have you got to do about your boundaries with their talk or about your association with them? Now, I'm not suggesting at all that you cut off any person from your life, because that can be more painful than anything, actually, losing relationships. But maybe there is a boundary to what you would need to accept. Maybe you're used to people saying things to you that, oh yeah, well you never do that, do you? Oh, you're always late, aren't you? Maybe you have to learn to go, hey, that's not totally true. Well, I don't think that's really fair. Come on. Maybe you learn to be able to just put a little boundary, starting with very small steps, so that you can actually stand up for yourself. Not in an aggressive way. Aggression is never ever needed, and actually it normally means that aggression is returned. But we start with just putting in a boundary. Do we think it's acceptable? The things that people do or the things that people say about us, and is it impacting on our confidence and our self-esteem? And if you can identify that is going on somewhere, or maybe you are in a coercively controlling or abusive relationship, then you need to think about how you're going to turn it around. Now, I would say if you are in an abusive relationship, reach out to some professional help, because putting boundaries in those relationships can often, if you haven't found this out already, result in a really big backlash. So you need to understand how to work very cleverly in these relationships to be able to gain a sense of self-esteem. Because when you start to change and you put boundaries in and someone's not expecting it, it's likely that you may have a big reaction to that. But if it's not one of those kind of situations, and it is a case that you're just saying these things to yourself, then start to think about those thoughts. Start with small steps, start reframing your thoughts. You don't need to feel inadequate. And I want you to write down each day for a week 3 things that you think you're okay at. And then as you get to the end of the week, you will have a list. And then I want you for the next 3 weeks, every day, just to remind yourself of those things on the list that you're okay at. And it doesn't have to be rocket science. It could be, I cook a good Sunday dinner, or, I'm great at DIY, or, like I'm always helping my kids with their homework. So small steps, start small, but you can gain this confidence. You do not have to sit there with that lack of self-esteem. And also join me in some of my yoga videos, therapy videos. So yoga therapy is quite good because then we're putting together moving our body at the same time we're thinking about a particular topic. So join me on the mat, and hopefully I might see you again for a chat off the mat. But for now, have a good day. Take care.